when you first walk in, you get hit with this jungle. The biggest issue I've got is that people don't believe that we can actually bring it back into play as a modern hotel. Some of the amazing architecture that is in the building will actually have to come down. All the beams are rotten, water's been getting in for many years. We'll try and save whatever we can, but the sad fact is, a lot of it is beyond repair. You don't even want to see it. There's no roof. But why am I not surprised? Did you think it was as bad as this?
I think it was bad, but you know, it's the scale of it. I think that you
walking into that jungle when you first walk in.
It's the jungle as well.
I'm straining my eyes to try and see how much rot there is in the ceiling, so I know it's just going to cost. I think it's fair to say it's all rotted.
Because a lot of people don't realise how severely damaged this building is and what a huge part it is of Northern Ireland and Ireland's history.
Whatever side of the fence you were on, you went down from this courtroom. And not only has it got these heightened barriers around to stop people from jumping up and running at the defendant or running at the judge, it is also the first court which actually has a tunnel which goes underneath the road and up in, say, cell block D. Again, heightened security for that. And the term going down actually emanates from this very courtroom. So going down, that term gets used all over the world, and it came from this courtroom. So when the Queen went over to open the jail over the road, she was walked round by the first and second minister of Northern Ireland, and both of them were ex-inmates, and both of them were in this courtroom, and both of them went down that tunnel and across the other side, and then they're walking the Queen round.
Now how much are the pigeons paying per night?
Whatever it is, it's not enough.
All this floor's going to come out. And then when the floors come out, it's about how stable are the walls. And then you're into cost for scaffolding, then it could cost £500,000 going around the building. Maybe more, maybe up to £1 million. The cleared out on this is the big part. Clearing out this site first is the biggest job. I get myself into some messes.
Nothing harder than this. This is the hardest you'll ever come across.
Oh, no, yeah.
Listed.
That's great that you're doing it. Like.
Yeah. Well, someone's got to do it, haven't they? For me, listed building status is amazing because it's keeping a huge part of Ireland's DNA intact. And the fact that it is listed and it can't be knocked down is the benefit for the people of the area, because they'll be able to look at this in 50 years' time. The stories will adorn the walls. What has gone on in Northern Ireland, in Belfast and in Ireland will be here for everyone to see. So in all the little hallways and all the little staircases, there'll be stories that represent the history of Belfast. This building standing here on the skyline as a derelict building, in some ways, is the last piece of the peace jigsaw, by these two guys representing both sides coming here today, showing unequivocally that they're behind the plans, showing that they agree with what we want to do and actually want to help us. Both these guys have hated this building and have feared the day of ever coming to this building, and then have come to this building and had to be tried, tested and sent down that tunnel. And here they are today, walking through freely and actually wanting it to be brought back into fruition again. That's quite telling, isn't it? That's huge. So we're here now to just make sure that this building gets brought back as quick as we possibly can. And we've got one last hurdle to go through, which is planning. So here we are, back in Crumlin Road Courthouse, which is probably the most important building that is derelict in Northern Ireland. So when we were last here, the ceiling was pretty much intact. But now you can see the two corners, one on the right hand side, one on the left hand side, are both falling away, and that's in the last 6 months. The problem is, we just haven't got the planning permission. And actually, you can't do anything without planning permission, because if we knock down a wall without their permission, and even if a wall fell down because of work we were doing, you can go to jail. It's quite heavy, you know. We did probably pushed parameters by trying to get more volume in here, because the original plan of permission said that they wanted to knock down the back wall and build more volume on the back. We just don't agree with that. We think the original design made by the architect should be kept to as much as you possibly can, which means the stamp of the building should stay the same. The big cost for this room is giving it the same detail that I had back in the day, in order for us to ensure that we keep to what it was intended to be. The problem is the cost of that, and every week that goes by it gets more and more, because more and more falls away and more falls into rot, and you can only see what's fell from the roof. It does get to a point where how much are we willing to throw into a bottomless pit in order to resurrect the building? And I think other builders and other developers have found that, and they've all failed. We have to get going before the next winter. So my hope is to get this cleaned out in the next month, maybe even putting a whole new roof on the top of it, just to keep it from water ingress and wind. It's getting to a point of no return. We need to save this building. So this is a great example of what Signature Living does. We go where other developers fear to tread. This is about as derelict as you can. If it wasn't listed, it would be knocked down. And we're going to come in and we're going to make sure that we resurrect this building and make it into a tourist beacon in its own right. Now that's difficult to do. It's difficult to resurrect these buildings, but it's also difficult to resurrect the stories left from a bygone era to be brought back through social platforms and pushed out. And we're hoping that those stories will create the interest and intrigue which will culminate in our hotel being filled. I want to assure everyone in Belfast that we are going to bring this back. This is going to be an amazing tourist beacon for Belfast and Northern Ireland.